Спасибо. Ну да, действительно, у нас есть друзья, которые сегодня, не только сегодня осознали и знают, что такое Россия, но они с самого начала знали, но, к большому сожалению, ни наши друзья тогдашние, которые понимали суть происходящего на территории Чеченской Республики, потому что Джохар Дудаев открыто, публично, каждый раз в своих выступлениях на пресс-конференциях он нам предсказывал возможные последствия поражения войны, поражения в войне Чеченской Республики России. И точно так же сегодня мы должны понимать, как я уже и сказал в своем докладе, мир стоит перед выбором или допустить уже фатальную, окончательную ошибку и не противодействовать тому, что происходит и что делает Россия в Украине, или же дать решительный отпор без всяких обиняков и оговорок, каких-либо дипломатических формулировок в поисках для Путина. Этого не должно быть. Мы должны понимать одно и усвоить и освоить, что Россия любой компромисс и любая толерантность, проявленная и международным сообществом, и кем бы это ни было, они это воспринимают как слабость, как поощрение своей агрессивной политики. Именно поэтому я сегодня упоминал о том, что происходило в 1995 году, когда Совет Европы принял на нарушение собственного устава, Россию приняли в Совет Европы. И объяснением это было, что они таким образом будут влиять на Россию. И что в конечном итоге получилось? Россия выиграла, Россия аннексировала грузинские территории, украинские территории. И сегодня Россия представляет абсолютную угрозу для всего цивилизованного мира. И поэтому наши друзья, которые еще в тот период, и Марк Мегельсон, и другие, они понимали, что происходит. Но, к большому сожалению, тогда сильные мира всего это не поняли. Но сегодня, я думаю и очень надеюсь, что всем понятно, что такое Россия и к чему это может привести, если сегодня не остановить Россию в Украине. Спасибо. И как раз, я думаю, уже Глен появился.
I have a new organization, new foundation, and we're very interested in the North Caucasus. So that's would be, and so it's nice to see our friends and be here on this important date in the history of Ichkeria. As we know, Ahmed played a big role with the events there. And so I'm just delighted that I can be here today to speak to everyone. It's a very historic day. And I would just say that the role of the diaspora is very, very critically important to the future of Ichkeria. You don't always win a battle in one day, but I will tell you this historic moment in the day that in 11 days, the regime of Bashar al-Assad fell. And it can show you that changes can happen in any country, especially one that's an autocracy ruled by Putin, can end overnight. And so it really can, these rapid changes can happen in any country. And so we know that the struggle of Ukraine is very important to the future of Ichkeria. And we know that there are many Chechens fighting in the Ukrainian army, including Ahmed's son. So I think we all know that this is very important to your future. And I think the United States is continuing its strong support for Ukraine. And I think that there's a new president coming, and I think he will not tolerate any type of different type of trading, horse trading, if you can use that expression, by Putin. So I think he will perfectly understand the new realities of what is happening in Ukraine, and the future of Ichkeria really depends on its diaspora in Europe. It depends a lot on Ukraine. And so I think that this is very important to our future. And I want you to know that the Saratoga Foundation will be very active in trying to help people here in Washington, D.C. understand the strategic importance of the North Caucasus. I just spoke this morning at an event organized by the Heritage Foundation on the Caspian Sea. And so the Caspian Sea is also going to be very important and remain strategically important to the interests of the United States. And so I think that North Caucasus is going to remain very important. So, and I think we just need to be patient and play and have a long-term strategy. Yes.
Glenn, dear friend, dear brother, thank you very much. You know, I'm receiving your mails and I'm reading it. It's very useful podcast which you have. Thank you for
Thank
your
you.
work, what you're doing
Thank you.
for Caucasian people, Middle East Asian people. Thank you very much. We really appreciate your work. Thank you.
Well, we're carrying forward, and we will keep working with important people like Mr. Ugar, and working with our friends Paul Goebel. And remember that there is a community of experts in the United States that are very interested in the North Caucasus and in Chechnya, and they know the tragedy of the Chechen people and the deportation.
Thank you. Yeah, glad. Yes, of course. We started work together in, I think, 20 years ago. And since that time, we're following you and what you have done or what you're doing. It's very useful. Thank you. Thank you.
Well, I mean, it's important to educate people. And I think that one of the things that Dr. Brzezinski emphasized very strongly was that the need of people to be educated and learn about the history of your people, of your region, and continue that effort to understand how it is changing. I would say that the Ukrainian drone attack on Hankala was very interesting, and I think that Ukraine's continued drone attacks in the North Caucasus is a sign to the peoples of the North Caucasus that Russia remains very vulnerable. And so I think that this is something that I was waiting for Ukraine to do. And Ukraine is playing a very big role in helping bring about the free peoples of Russia together in all these different forums and events around the world. And I think that's very important. You just have to educate people. And sometimes, as happened in Ottawa, you will catch a Russian spy every now and then. So, and that's what happened when the FBI arrested that young lady that was attending some of the events where the free peoples of Russia were gathered. So that's very critically important.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, it's Chechnya is direct, and what's going on in Ukraine and our resistance, which we have there. We have to deoccupy our country, and Ukraine will be key of our deoccupation. It's not only Chechens deoccupation, all North Caucasian peoples and republics, and for this reason, it's very important. Thank you, Glenn. Thank you very much.
Yes, and I would say that the Chechens, the 4 battalions that are fighting inside of Ukraine, that's the future army of Ichkeria.
Yeah, absolutely. We are restoring our army, our forces in military forces in Ukraine. 5 battalions now.
Now 5. Well, congratulations. Yes. You increased it.
Yeah, thank you.
I understand there's many more wanting to join, but you're kind of limited in how many you can take at one time. So, and that's the thing too, Ahmed, is that many of your diaspora, when Russia invaded Ichkeria and started this war, the first and the second wars, it never realized that it would create over 500,000 refugees that would leave and go to Europe, and that this Chechen diaspora in Europe are all having children. And these children are now, they speak your language, you keep your cultural traditions alive, but most importantly, they all carry European Union passports. And that's very important because they're educated in the West. And this diaspora will one day want to return to Chechnya. So that's very important to point. I think when you look at the future of Chechnya, you also have to look at your diaspora and how strong it is in Europe. And I would point out that when Poland went through its rebellions against Russian rule in the 19th century, many Poles went to Western Europe. They went to Paris. They went to these countries for refuge. And that later on, they would play major roles in the rebellions against the Russians, especially the 1863 revolt against Russia. So I think this is very important, that history really is important for you, your people. You keep your traditions alive in London. In England, you have Chechens. In France, and Germany, Austria, you have a very large diaspora. And this diaspora is really the key to your struggle.
Я абсолютно, как говорил Черномырдин, как хотели, как лучше, получилось, как всегда. Сегодня Путин не в состоянии уничтожить чеченский народ. Абсолютно. And we have a parallels during First World War. You remember it, you mentioned it, Polish Legion, which will establish during First War. This Legion, it becomes a independency. They play a very, very big role to independent Poland. And the same thing will happen with Chechen Republic about our military forces, which were established in Ukraine now.
That's right, and I think the Poles were called the Blue Division, and I would say, Ahmed, that France has just recently completed the training of 5,000 Ukrainians army inside of France, and that these military units are going to be sent back to Ukraine to fight. And so, why is this important? Because Ukraine also is helping you build a future army, and so this is very critically important. And I think Putin lost Syria, he lost Assad. I mean, he knows that he is cornered, he is losing support, and Assad and the loss of Syria is just the beginning.